Today, because we're going to be in plank pose, you've got to take extra special care with your wrists. Okay, so I know that some people will be going, oh no, wrists. Yeah, I can see you nodding at me. So just remember the alternatives are to be these, I call these tripod fingers. So where you've got your fingers like that on the floor. So that's your first alternative. I like that. Or you could put your knuckles down instead of your palms. But I'll talk to you about this while we're flat at the screen. So what I want you to always remember is that there's a horseshoe like that on your hand. Okay, and that's where your body weight should be going into, primarily across here, across the top of the horseshoe. So here, where the wrist joint, the center of the joint is, you should try avoid putting your body weight fully there, or any body, it should always be here. Okay, so and then also, do you remember in the last few weeks we've been talking about externally rotating the upper arm bones out? And so when we do that, you can probably see when we externally rotate the arm, notice what happens to the hand. It wants to, the fingers turn down, but I don't want you to do that. I want your arm to externally rotate, but your hand to stay upright. Okay, so it's probably, let me just take my jumper off. So if you practice that, sorry, oh, I've been hot all day and then cold, and now I'm all right. So I want you to, if you hold out your arm in front of you and spin your upper arm bone as though you're wringing it out, and your fingers turn back down. So you've got your inner crease of your elbow facing the ceiling. And then I want that to stay the same. So put your hand here and hold this. Don't let this upper part of your arm move, but now spin your lower arm so your fingers point up. And that's always what you're looking for, this external rotation of the arm. I'm a bit bendy in my elbows, so don't take any notice of how my elbow is bending. But I do want you to externally rotate your upper arm bones, because that will work a muscle here, the serratus muscle, which is very good at, I hope that I've got the name of that right, but it stabilizes the shoulder blade, because you want your shoulder blades to stay on the back of your body. So people, when you see people that are very loose in their shoulder blades and their shoulder blades are pinging off of the back of the body, that's because of a lack of stability in the shoulders. And that's no good. You don't want that pinging, that winging of your shoulder blades. It's okay when your hands are behind your back, because you've got this massive internal rotation of the arms going on, which is not a very natural position for the arms to be in, and the shoulders, but we do it a bit in yoga. So it's nice to understand that that's happening. But primarily, yoga is about pushing. Okay, we push a lot. We push in down dog, we push in, plank pose, we push in all of these poses with our hands. And it makes the front of our body very strong, but the back of our body is weak as a result. And that's why you should try to do other things as well as yoga. Okay, because yoga is fabulous for the push, but there's no pull. There's none of this action which makes you use your back. Okay, and so therefore, to try to find some stability for the shoulders, this is why this external rotation of the upper arm bones helps to pin the shoulder blades onto the back of the body. And underneath your shoulder blades, you have a very lovely muscle that holds the shoulder blade onto the rib cage, and it's helping to engage that and make that happen. Okay, so there you go, a little bit of anatomy, a little bit of body work going on. So back to your hand, horseshoe shape, and then favour the thumb and the index finger side of your hand, so that when you're pushing and you're externally rotating the upper arm bone, but then keeping that there as the thumb and the fingers rotate back to their normal position, you want to be putting more of your body weight here into not only the top of the palm, but also the thumb and index finger side of it too. So you're really working the inner part of the arm. And what happens when you do that, you get more range, you get more length. And that's what this class is all about, is how can you use the ground to lift yourself away from it. Okay, So, sorry, so that's turned into a little bit of a kind of workshop on all of these things, but you'll get the idea in a minute. For the time being, come and have a lie down and we'll percolate that information. I'm going to put you onto mute, everybody. Welcome to everybody who's just come on board. Lovely to see you. I hope you got the gist of that from halfway through the conversation. Right, so I'm just going to put you onto mute and going to change this all around. Good. Okay, so I'm going to move that down a little bit. See you all over there. Okay, my darlings. So have a little lie down and maybe lay in constructive rest pose. That's the knees bent, feet as wide as the mat. The toes slightly turned in and the hands resting on the tummy, somewhere in between maybe the navel and the hip bones. Okay, and we'll think about letting the back of the body sink into the floor. And we'll take the time to breathe now and to connect into the breath as you breathe in through the nose, out through the nose. Maybe finding a natural Ujjayi breath. Where you feel that the breath is moving down the back of the throat. And is slightly more audible than perhaps is normal. As you breathe in, encourage the belly to relax. And as you breathe out, encourage a natural contraction to the tummy. And this is where our practice of yoga begins, with the breath. There's so much benefit to be had from a simple breathing practice. Which can be incorporated into the asana practice as we do, or can be practiced standalone. So I'd really encourage you to take some time out of your day, maybe tomorrow, where you either come into this pose, constructive rest, or you sit, or even you just go and stand out in the garden. And breathe. Do this for 2 minutes and notice the difference that it makes. And because it will feel so delicious for the body and the mind, you'll want to do it again. And so you factor in some more time to do it maybe later. And because it's delicious doing it a couple of times a day, you make the time a bit longer. And this is how we begin to take our yoga practice one little step out of the room you're in or off of the mat you're on, so it becomes a part of your everyday. You've all been doing so brilliantly, regularly coming to practice and establishing this routine in your own home. Maybe it's time to explore a few extra things that you could do. The yoga becomes an integral part of your life. Okay. I'm going to begin to move a little bit now. So let's think about taking the hands down by your sides and heel-toeing the feet back in line with the hips. If you've got something underneath your head, slide it out away from you. And then on your next inhalation, breathe the arms up and over your head. So the back of the hands touch the floor behind you. If they can, don't force them down if they don't reach. As you exhale, the arms come back up and over your head, and you turn the palms midway so the backs of the hands touch down by your side. Keep going with this, breathing in and the arms coming up and over. And perhaps you've got your eyes closed and you're really focused on this breath-led practice. And how welcome these movements feel within your body. Never forcing the body to move in any way it doesn't want to go. Keep breathing, keep moving. On your next exhalation, I'd like you to hug in your right knee towards you. Give it a little squeeze in. Then return the foot and sweep the arms up and over your head as you breathe in. Then as you breathe out, squeeze the other knee in. Keep going. Slow breaths. Use Ujjayi breath if you're familiar with it. If you're not sure what it is, if you haven't come across it yet, just send me a message, drop me an email. I'll point you in the right direction. Breathe in. As long as your breath is slow and steady, you're in no rush and you're not forcing the breath, then you're doing everything right. After your next inhalation, the arms have come up and over. Scoop both knees in towards your chest and pause there, giving yourself a little bit of a squeeze in. Again, relax shoulders, there shouldn't be any force here, no strain. Just see where your body naturally wants to move to. And then maybe take a little rock across the back body, making sure the nose is rocking with the knees as you find a little bit of massage, loosening and freeing up across your back. Lovely. And then come back to the center and replace the feet back to their really wide apart position. Take the arms into cactus arms, just gently. If that's not comfortable, return the arms down by your sides or any other position. Inhale with the knees in the center, and then exhale, let the knees float to one side and turn your head away from the direction of your knees. Then inhale, bring the knees and the nose up towards the center, and exhale the knees out to the other side. All right, so keep going, breathing the knees up to the middle and breathing out, knees out to the side. And go super slow with this. Keep the breath moving in and out of your body in a very gentle, very soothing way. And there's that sense that nothing else matters right here, right now, apart from this. One more on each side, everybody. Good job. And then come back to the center. Carefully roll yourself over to one side and lift yourself up to an all fours position, please. Okay, so place your hands underneath your shoulders. Spread your fingers, but not super wide apart. Just make sure there's plenty of mat in between each finger. Find your horseshoe shape to your palm and make that your focus of attention for the next few moments. And see if you can simply take your shoulders a little bit further forwards so that you can feel your body weight going into the top of the palm, and then come back. And this, I know, isn't everybody's cup of tea, so please don't do this if this is going to aggravate your wrists. Okay, instead you could be on your knuckles, and instead what you can do is concentrate on drawing your navel in and making your torso super strong. Still with the rocking, it doesn't matter whether you're on fingertips or knuckles. Okay. All right, everybody. And then we're going to do some circles now. So just floating the shoulders in circular movements and then changing the direction and going the other way. Good job. And then you can come back to the center and sit back onto your heels. Lean forwards just a little bit so you can bring the backs of your hands or back right up to the wrist joint and onto the floor, and then let your chin fall towards your chest. Slightly draw the navel in. Keep letting the chin fall towards the chest. Feel that there's a lovely stretch sense along the back of the neck and across the back of the shoulders. And you're not too heavy into the hands. There's no real body weight there. Just the weight of the arms maybe. Okay, so take an inhalation, come up to an all fours position. And just your fingertips on the floor, step your right foot forwards. Little rocks, so take care with the back knee. If you need to put something underneath it, you can do. We're not doing anything with the hands here, it's just with the legs. We're opening up into the hips, so little rock forwards and backwards. Good job. And then coming back, this time we're going to walk the hands back with us a little bit. Lift up the toes and give the back of the leg a little bit of a stretch. Okay, so that you should hopefully feel a stretch all the way from the Achilles up the back of the calf through the back of the hamstrings. Very nice. Now float forwards again. Leave your left fingertips or knuckles on the floor. Make sure that your right knee is above your right ankle, and then turn to the right. You can put your hand onto your thigh here. You could put your right hand onto the back of your sacrum. You could turn your head and look up. All right, so think about now pressing into the floor through your fingertips, keeping that stability there, externally rotating the upper arm bones, but still keep pressing into the thumb and the index fingertip. Good. And then gently come back to the center. Replace the hand back down to the floor. Walk the hands back, lift the toes again, exactly the same position. So preparation for half splits. And again, left fingertips like a tripod, stay on the floor. And I want you to turn again to the right. Now you should feel a nice big stretch down your outer thigh, Janet. I hope this is in the right region. And if you want, this time, take your right hand up to the ceiling and you can look up towards your right thumb. Very good. Take another breath here. and then gently come back down. Very nice. Bend the right knee, slide the foot back to meet the left, and then take the left foot forwards. Again, just your fingertips on the floor, so no palms down yet, and you're rocking forwards and backwards a couple of times. Okay, next time you come back, let the toes lift off the floor, keep the heel on the ground, try and keep the pelvis fairly level, and then think about taking the left sit bone towards the top of your mat. And you might find that that gives you a bigger stretch down the back of the left leg. Good job. One more breath here. And then walk the hands forwards and bend the left knee. Leave the right fingertips onto the floor, and you're turning to look to the left. And it could be your left hand stays on your thigh, or the left hand goes onto the back body. And you're thinking about spinning around, spinning the rib cage round, maybe a little bit of drawing in of the navel. That might get you a little bit more rotation, or a little bit more stability. Good job. Come back to the center, and then walk the hands back so that the left leg straightens. Heel on the floor, toes are high. Right fingertips stay on the floor, and then turning again to the left, and then lifting, if you can, the left hand up to the sky. If it's too strong, just keep the hand on the hip or the back of the body. As you reach up towards the ceiling, can you keep pressing into the fingertips on the right hand? And think about, as you press down, can you find a little bit more lift and a little bit more space in your body? Is there lightness? That's what we're always looking for, lightness within the strength. And then looking down, lower the left hand, good job, and sweep the left foot back. This time palms are down on the floor. We're going to come into downward dog. So tuck the toes under, lift the knees, unravel the backs of the legs, let the head fall between the arms. Maybe a little bit of a pedal of the heels, and I want you to enjoy how that feels in your calf muscles. Especially after those lovely big back of the leg stretches. And then if you think about spreading out the balls of your feet, a little bit of a bend to the knee, lift the tailbone up to the sky, press into the thumb and index finger side of your palm, externally rotate the upper arm bones, chin towards the chest, heels back. Breathe here, draw the navel in a little bit, take a couple more breaths if you can. All right. And then we're going to look towards the fingers and walk the feet forwards towards your hands. Well done. And allow your knees to bend enough so that your tummy can rest onto the top of the thighs, the arms can dangle down. And again, if you're able to, bend the knees enough so the backs of the hands are resting on the floor. The chin falls towards the chest, the head hangs heavily down. I'm going to stay here, or you can move with me. You're going to gently breathe in and lift the sit bones, opening up the backs of the legs if you can, and then exhaling, letting the knees bend, and you come down into your sort of semi-squat position. And then we'll do it a couple more times. So breathing in, lifting up the sit bones, straightening up the back of the legs, and then exhaling, re-bending the knees. One more time, breathing in. Good. And out. And then this time, let's walk the hands up the front of the legs. And let's relieve our bodies by coming up to stand. And maybe just noticing how that's feeling along the back of the legs, into the, maybe around the sit bones, that sort of thing. Sorry, I've got half of my hair in my mouth. Okay, so we're going to stand at the top of the mat, and I'd like you to stand in mountain pose. So spread out the balls of your feet, drag the heels back. And so we've thought a little bit about the hands because that's going to be so important for a plank pose. But we also have to think about now the feet. So I want you to spread out the balls of the feet so that you can press into the four corners. Okay, you're all familiar with this now. So press down and think about, as you press down, can you create lift, upwards movement of energy, particularly ground down into the big toe and inside edge of your foot so that you can lift the inner arches of your feet and feel that there is a line of energy going all the way up the inside of your thigh, making that lovely lifted feel that then will run up the center of your body and all the way out through the top of your head. As you stand here, pressing down into the soles of your feet, but lifting the inner arches, and then that lift continues. Can you lengthen your tailbone towards your heels? Can you lift the front of the hip bones up slightly? Keep the low ribs in. Relax the shoulders, turn the palms forward slightly, and lift up through the back of your brain. Relax your face, relax your jawbones. So we call this energy at the feet the Padabandha. And it's really important to recognize and to cultivate this upward lift so that all of the poses become lighter and look more easeful, okay, more graceful, like there is sort of floating poetry to them in my lovely idealistic beautiful world that I live in. Okay, so now what you're going to do is bring your hands together in front of your body, front of your heart, and I'd like you to press really firmly into the palms. Okay, heel of the hands together, top of the horseshoe together, fingertips together. So they're all working. Now this is a good indication of carpal tunnel, because if after doing this with your hands for about 30 seconds, it starts to ache, that can be a sign that any discomfort in your wrist could be linked to that. Okay, not that I want to put words or things or conditions or anything, but I know some of you have talked to me about this before. Okay, now there's a really nice one that we can do to counter this, which is then to turn the palms inside out. The prayer is back to front, and you could have your fingers pointing down, and that's quite nice. You can also do it with your fingers pointing up, okay? So some people's wrists will be very happy with doing this and some others won't. Just move in a way that feels right for you, okay? But all of these are, so release and give your wrists a bit of a shake. All of these are really nice ways to just tone and lightly lubricate the wrists, okay? As is this one, which we do fairly regularly in class. So if you link your fingers together, elbow joints together, and then roll your wrists in a circle. This is, this one we do it on a Thursday morning, sometimes on a Saturday morning. It's great for morning practices, just getting the joints nice and lubricated. Okay, stop and change direction. You don't have to go quick, you can go slow to do this. Lovely. And then release and swing it out. Okay,